Well, welcome back everybody to this next interview, and I'm really looking forward to this. This is some people that I know, and we've got the Frankish family, and this is only just a few of them, and there's a few more, and here they are. So how are you all doing, guys?
Hi, good.
Very well, excited to see you, Jace.
Yeah, and you too, and you too. So for our viewers that I'll be watching, so if you just go through and tell us who you are, how old you are. Maybe you and Angela, Paul and Angela might not want to tell us how old you are. But off you go, Sam.
I'm Sam. I've been running since about 12. Go running around the state. Done a few half marathons in there. It's really relaxing, good fun. Yeah.
How old are you now, Sam?
I'm 18 now. I'm 18, yeah.
Wow. I can remember you actually, Sam. Well, and Zach. I can remember when you were all born. But it doesn't seem 2 minutes ago. So on the other end, we've got Zach.
Yeah,
Zach, how old are you, Zach?
I'm also 18, surprisingly. I've been running since I was 8. I ran for my local club since I was 8. I've never done a half marathon, surprisingly, but yeah, I'm also 18, just to clarify with twins.
Wow. So for the viewers out there, they are twins. They are twins. And I'm sure Angela would say terrible twins, maybe.
No, they're angelic.
Wow.
So
we should point out we've got 2 other children. Well, one's married and the other's not at university. He's done university, but works away. And we had a pretty idyllic existence with 2 kids, and Ange wanted a third, and then our lives came to a very abrupt left turn at that point. 18 years on, we're still recovering.
Yeah.
And maybe Ange might fill us in a bit later how it was having those 2 beautiful boys of yours, eh? Or maybe not.
No. I don't really want to go back there.
No, definitely not. But you know, so Sam and Zach, what are you actually doing now then? So you're 18. What are you doing?
We're both in college. I'm studying biology, chemistry, and Spanish at college.
Spanish?
I'm hopefully going to university next year.
Yeah. And where do you fancy going? Which university?
So I haven't heard back from all of my unis at the moment, but I'm hoping to go to either Newcastle or Manchester, but I haven't heard back from them yet.
All right. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, super. And Sam, surely you're doing your A-levels too?
Yeah, I do maths, physics, and chemistry, and hopefully doing civil engineering at Newcastle.
Oh, very good. And are you hoping to go to the same place then, uni?
Oh, we didn't plan it, but it looks like we're just following each other about.
Joined at the hip, yeah? Yeah, that's twins, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if they end up in different places and how they'll cope without each other.
Yeah, that will be, won't it? That'll be cool. Good to see what happens. So, obviously, for the people that are watching this, I've had the privilege of doing many park runs with all of you. And the wonderful thing is, most of the time, I'm always in front of you too, aren't I?
Yeah, quite a long way.
But the wonderful thing is, I've always, especially when we do Pontefract Park Run, I've always got Sam or Zach breathing down my neck. And I've got your times here. So the fastest one in your family is Zach, which is 19 minutes 16, your best. And Sam, 20 minutes. Come on, Sam. You need to pull your finger out here, mate.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's a really good time, especially at Pontefract. Did you do them at Pontefract?
Yeah.
It's not an easy course, Pontefract. So whenever you're able, come to Rothwell, which I obviously am part of that. You might go a little bit faster. And while we're talking about park runs, Paul, you've got a park run of 23 minutes, which isn't bad, not bad. And Angela,
23, 41. 41.
yeah, so nearly 24 then.
Yeah. But I managed to get that. I was 1 second off my PB on the very day of my 50th birthday, which
Wow.
I'm very proud of.
That's pretty good. Yeah. And Angela, 28 minutes. That's some good going.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
That was whilst I was training for the marathon.
Hey, 9 minutes before she mentioned the marathon.
Yeah. And for all our viewers there, we will get back to Angela in a moment, and she will tell you something amazing that happened in London, which many of us have done before. But yeah, so just on the whole, guys, how are you finding lockdown? Because you're quite a big family, and you've obviously Indy's just got married, and Ben's all over the place. How are you finding it as a family? Paul.
It's been quite chaotic for us because we had a wedding to try and plan through lockdown last year, which went, we had a guest list that went from 130 to 30 to 15 to no wedding. But then we had a wonderful day with just a really intimate little wedding, 15 people. And it wasn't what we were planning, but it was better than we could have ever imagined. And Indy and Ryan had a lovely day and are really happy. So we're really grateful for that. And the week after the wedding, Ben asked if he could come home to stay because his girlfriend, who was from Australia, her flight home got cancelled. So we're them living with us for another 10 weeks.
Wow.
So it's been quite intense.
Yeah.
It's been busy.
Yeah. So with the wedding only sort of having 15 guests, were you happy that you didn't have to spend loads of money?
Well, Angela just worked out that the budget was the same. We just spent it all on 15 people.
Excellent, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, I've known you for, I was trying to work out, is it about 25 years or maybe even longer?
A little bit longer, probably.
I've known you, and obviously, we all go to the same church. But Paul, if you just want to say sort of anything about his church, sort of obviously where we go and what roles you've got in that.
Yeah, well, I suppose before that, you and Joe have always been an inspiration to us because big family. You went before us in that, and we looked on in awe. And then having 4 kids ourselves, it's got its challenges, but you've always been an inspiration to us in that. So that's been nice.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, church. So we moved over in '98, joined Cutside Christian Church, and have done various things there. Been involved in the leadership and preaching, youth work. We're involved with yourselves at the Yorkshire camp. Lots of people go to in this area. And it's been good for us as a family to have that as home and to grow up there and to see lots of other people growing up and the changes that have taken place. There's and change probably is a very, very relevant word because I think the whole issue with COVID and the last 18 months has meant that we've had to react and change, and we've kind of gone online a bit. And I think it's been quite a challenge to our faith. And what does it really mean to be a Christian and to continue to live as a Christian when you can't have that contact? So I think what's going to be really interesting is how we come back to church after all this. That's going to be a big thing. And I think we need to, as in many different avenues of life, we need to take the benefits and the advantages that we've learned, but also we need to be ready to change and to adapt. That's, if it's taught us anything, it's got to be that.
I suppose that's saying with a lot of churches, but I think, a lot of churches have really, sort of really took hold of that media, haven't they? You know what I mean? Like, I know ourselves, we've been doing stuff on YouTube, stuff on Zoom, and I've seen many others. So a lot of churches have seemed to have even grown in this time, which is an absolute blessing, isn't it? But we'll get back more to church in a moment. Let's talk a little bit more about running before we get to more churchy things, I would say. So first of all, we'll go to twins. So are you running now? Are you still doing anything now? Or have you sort of put your running shoes up for a little bit? Zach, are you still competing on the track?
No, so I haven't. I used to compete from like pretty much eight up until like 17 or like 16ish, and then I stopped when I started my A levels. I think around when I started my A levels, and obviously then because of COVID, I don't think obviously I haven't been to my club, And I definitely haven't been competing, obviously, because of COVID. But I do still run. I run probably like 2 or 3 times a week still. Yeah.
I suppose we've got a little bit of a rivalry there because you're from a club called, you go to a club called Wakefield Harriers, and our club obviously is a lot better club, isn't it? Rothwell Harriers.
Yeah. I've heard.
So it's quite good because some of the kids that I help coach and see that you're competing against them. So it's quite fun that way. So Sam, what are you up to, mate? Running.
Not much. Yeah. So yeah, I just just do it so I don't get fat. I mean, what else is there to say?
Well, it'd be good when it
works.
You get to university, wherever you go, there will be a local park run, especially in Newcastle if you end up going there. So get your t-shirts on, get out, get running, and spread the word. You know what I mean? Just by wearing the t-shirt. But getting on to running, obviously, Angela, you have had the privilege of running a run in London. So do you want to just fill us in about that? Because I know it's a massive up there in your things that you've done in your life.
So back in 2018, I had the privilege, as we say, as running the London Marathon, and it was on my bucket list. So thanks to yourself, Jason, for asking me to do that on behalf of the Forefront Theatre. It was an amazing experience, and on reflection, I do wish that I did a better time than 5 hours 50 minutes. I think that was the time, but I enjoyed. My aim was to just take it all in and just to enjoy every minute, and that's what I did. And just it was really amazing, and I loved it.
She should point out that she'd had 14 weeks to train for the London Marathon, having never run further than 5k previously.
Yeah, so I downloaded a running program and just stuck to it because I tried to run previously half marathons and ended up withdrawing from those because of injuries. Yeah. So I really did stick to this training program, and I really loved it. It was amazing.
The weather was bad and then it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 weeks before the marathon, I was running in ice, training in ice, and then on the day it was really hot.
That's always been the problem with London, because it's always, you have to do your training through the winter, and then obviously the race is always like April, isn't it? So it's
the water stations, they ran out. They ran out of, so I'm glad I've got to say, I've got to say, and you know what I mean? Just when I was offered, everybody out there, I was offered a place from that theatre company, Forefront Theatre. And they said, "Oh, we've got a place for you, Jason, if you want to do it London Marathon." And obviously, I've done it a few times, and I knew that you wanted to do it. And it was like straight away, I'll have the number, but Angela's going to do it. I'm going to ask her. Thank you very much. It was a bucket list of mine, and I thought I'd never have the chance to do it, also because of a health condition of the pituitary failure. So I had to manage my medication with the training, and it was difficult, but I loved it. So thank you for that opportunity.
No, it's you know what I mean? I can't, and I'm sure, I think I tracked you all the way. I was tracking a lot of people, you know what I mean, that I knew, and where is she, where's she got to, and, you know what I mean? But no, well done from doing that, and it's a massive thing. So Paul, I've got to ask, so when are you doing your marathon?
Well, there's something we should have said at the start, actually. So Angela's had her second jab today, so she's feeling a bit rough.
Right.
You know, Ash, our good friend, yours and our good friend Ash Gibson, invited me to play football last night for the first time in 5 years. Oh no. Go on. After 20 minutes, I stretched and something's gone twang. I've not been able to move all day today. So I'm not going to be running a marathon for a while. No.
It's quite funny because they say sport's good for you, but then we hear everybody that get injuries, and I've had everything you can imagine over the years. And I know you have, Paul, haven't you? You've had everything, haven't you?
I'm not built like a runner. I think as Sam says, I run so that I can eat. It justifies my diet. But so I played football I started playing football when I was about 30. I played till I was in early 40s, and that was just too painful. Then I started running. I did a couple of half marathons, did the Great North, which were fantastic. But then I was struggling with that, and more recently I've transitioned onto the bike. So I've been really enjoying cycling for the last 18 months or so. Go out with one of my neighbours, and it's a lot easier on the knees.
Yeah. It does.
But I do still. You can't beat running. You can run from your back door. You don't need any great equipment, and I've always done it. But it's been a very it's just been something that I've enjoyed doing to clear my head more than anything else.
And I think with Christian runners, there's so many of us out there up and down the country, and you've probably seen some of the interviews that I've done, and we've got some like GB runners that have competed for Great Britain, right down to ultra runners and people that just plod about and do the little bit every now and again. And you know what I mean? End of the day, it's getting out, like you say, get out of that front door. If it means just walking or jogging around the block, at least you're getting out, fresh air, and you feel good. And you know what I mean? The pictures that people put on the Christian Runners group page, beautiful, isn't it? Some of the places.
Since lockdown, I've been running with Jude Gibson about twice a week. I mentioned to her this morning that I was running with, being interviewed by yourself, and she just had a Christian Runners t-shirt on.
Fantastic.
This morning. Yeah, so that's been really good. Just exercising and twice a week and still getting out there and running.
And the combination, the Christian runners, particularly at Pontefract, when we've had up to about 20 of us, haven't we, all together?
Yeah.
And it does, people ask you people come up to you afterwards, it opens the conversation up. It's brilliant. I love parkrun. I think we should that's the one thing I'm really missing. I can't wait for parkrun to start again. And I think
so many of us missing it. So,
church could learn a lot from parkrun. It's a very evangelical setup.
Absolutely.
And we often marvel at how just they serve the community. It's really a brilliant thing. We really enjoy parkrun.
I'll never forget at Pontefract. I think it was the Christmas one. We all dressed up and ran round as the nativity scene. So there was me and a guy called Ash Gibson. We were the donkey, and we were dressed up some as angels, Mary, Joseph. And I can always remember a chap afterwards when we were all chatting. And he came up and he said, "Oh, Jason, that was really good what you did there with all your Christian runners and that." And he actually says to me, "Can you just pray for," I think it was his wife or his mum. And just out of the blue, you know what I mean? I'd never spoke to him about anything to do with Christianity, but because he knew what we're part of as it is, you know what I mean, Christians. He had that courage just to say, "Can you pray for us? Pray for me, for my mum or my wife." And I think that's what's wonderful too, just being able to do that. And there's so many different stories, isn't there?
The combination with the t-shirts, I think if you're like me, sometimes it's so difficult to witness and to, just how do you make that first step? Yeah. And I think all of us have found that when we wear the Christian Runners shirt, you kind of forget you've got it on.
Yeah, you do.
But people will then approach you, and it's a real opportunity to start a conversation. I think it's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Really effective.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? Yeah. So are you you go out on your bike now, Paul? Are you still pretty competitive when you go out on bike?
No, but who he cycles with is.
So I picked up a second-hand bike last year just at the start of lockdown.
You got 3 wheels?
No. So it's the first time I've ever worn cleats where you lock your feet into the pedals.
No. Go on, tell us.
I was trying it out just outside one night, and my neighbour across the road said, "Have you got a bike?" He said, "I've just picked up a bike." He said, "Do you fancy going out?" Right. And that Sunday morning we went for a ride.
Brilliant.
And we've been out just about every Sunday morning. So I don't go to church on a Sunday morning because there isn't any, and I've been out cycling, so it's a new form of worship for me. It's been brilliant. And we've done, we're up to 100 kilometres, which I think is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But what I should tell you is that my neighbour is an ex-Great Britain Rugby League international.
Wow.
And you think if I'm competitive, I'm the quiet one. So, boy, oh boy, I say to Andrew, we're just going to have a gentle one this morning, but as soon as we get on the bypass, it's a race to the top. And
fantastic.
I come back wrong out.
Yeah, I was just I should have said earlier, it's been a privilege to know you guys, obviously from church, but also when I set up Christian Runners, you were there right from the beginning, you know what I mean? And especially you two lads now, you're 18. I can remember, I mean, you were little kids, some of the old pictures we've got, you were little kids at probably, I don't know, 8 years old, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old, running around Ponty, which was absolutely fantastic. So thank you for being with us from the beginning.
Cutsike have always been very forthcoming and sponsored the shirts and helped, haven't they? They've been good for that.
Yeah. I can't thank my church, you know what I mean?
Shout out to them.
They've helped out right at the beginning and they still help out. And it's, especially this last few months, through lockdown, it's grown. It's just gone, whoo. You know what I mean? It's amazing, and it's been wonderful to meet so many different people from down south to Scotland, Northern Ireland. So it's just wonderful that we're going all over the place, aren't we? Which is fantastic. So let's get back to church then. So obviously we're all involved in church that we go to, that Cutsike Christian Church. And the main thing I've got to say is I've heard, actually I know that there is a really top class, professional, wonderful drummer there.
Right, looking at who's that then?
It ain't me.
For those that don't know, that's me, but I wouldn't say I'm professional, am I?
Is it McNally?
McNally, yeah.
So guys, do you play any instruments yourselves?
Me and Sam played piano for a few years, but
yeah,
I think if you're looking for the superstar drummer,
I don't think I've played.
Yeah, I know you've played a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think you should get back on that.
I do.
I could play a measly John Lennon on piano if you want. That's pretty much it.
So we once the boys had a piano teacher and she asked them to go to the local recycle thing at the local church to raise funds.
Oh yeah.
So they all got given a little bit of music to play. I went with Sam. And how old were you? You were quite big. He was a lot bigger than all the other kids there.
16.
Anyway, he goes out to the front and he sits at the piano and then he just motions to his piano teacher. And so she gets up and she stands up and said, Sam's decided he's not going to play the piece that we've given him. He's going to play Imagine by John Lennon. Well, all the other kids had played for 2 minutes. Sam got into the rhythm, but he couldn't find a way out of it. He just kept going round and round. Oh, it was priceless. I videoed it. We often laugh at it.
Oh, brilliant. Oh,
and it was so good on maybe next year as well.
Yeah.
So round 2.
So tell us a little bit about your daughter, Indy. Obviously, I know Indy, but tell a little bit about what she's doing. Obviously, she's just got married, hasn't she? And
so Indy has been in Newcastle for the last 3 years, and she's just finishing her biology degree. And she's just been accepted at Warwick University to do medicine.
Oh,
so she's, as you mentioned already, she got married in December, and so now her and her husband Ryan, they're hopefully moving down to Warwickshire, and he's having to look for another job. He's a youth worker up in Newcastle. Yeah.
But ever since she's been really little, Indy's wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, right.
But things just haven't gone. It's not been. She always does things the hard way, and it's been a real. I think we were thinking it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so when she rang us recently and told us she'd got a place for postdoc, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And we're reminded that both her and Ryan are very. To say they're very godly, that's not the right way of saying things, but they live their faith, and it's been really reassuring for us to see that, you know, God honours those that honour him, and we're really praying for them that we'll continue to serve him, and it's a real noble cause to be a doctor. So we're delighted about that. Really nice.
I mean, all your kids are lovely, and Indy, obviously, she went to Tanzania because I went to the same orphanage, so she had that privilege there, didn't she, to go and meet the kids out there and do a camp with them. So yeah, a heart for God. And you two lads too, you know what I mean? You do a lot with the youth, don't you? You sort of you've been organising the online Zoom thing, I've heard, haven't you? My daughter's been on.
Yeah.
Is that a quiz or something?
Yeah, so I think so it was definitely more into this end of last year. I just sort of missed the youth group at church. There's like probably 15 people on average that could turn out on that, and I decided that we should have like a bit of an online version. And I think the amazing thing about today's generation is you can play so many games together online, and yeah, it works out good because everyone just has fun, and we play quizzes. We do we play like online charades, Pictionary stuff. It's actually quite a competitive, good laugh, really.
Yeah.
And we must
go on.
Sorry, I was going to say we mustn't forget we've got another child, Ben, who probably he's not built for running, but he does run, but he's a good footballer, and so he's also been busy. He's been out in Australia. Now got an Australian girlfriend who's gone back to Australia, so he's trying to figure out how he can get a visa to go and be with her. So that's all fascinating at the minute.
Hey, your Ben's done some fast times anyway, if I remember. Anyway, at parkrun, he's not a bad runner.
Nah, not as fast as me.
Excellent. So you're gonna have maybe some relations then in Australia, and now you've got Scotland. So maybe Zach might be Spain. Is it Spanish you're doing? So you might find a Spanish lady. And I don't know about Sam. Maybe somebody from Iceland or something. I don't know.
Barnsley. You've seen a girl from Barnsley.
Barnsley. Well, that's another world, isn't it, Barnsley? Well, it's time goes on, you know what I mean? We've been chatting for so long even now, you know what I mean? But let's get back to church a little bit. So our church is a lot to us, isn't it? We've spent a lot of time there. And have you got a verse or a scripture or anything like that for you'd love to share with us, or even the lads or Angela?
Yeah, have you got? I've certainly, since you called us, I've just given it a little bit of thought, and I think actually before the lockdown, so it wasn't a result of lockdown, but for the first time, so I'm 55 this year, and early last year, for the first time in my life, completely out of the blue, I was experiencing a bit of anxiety, if I'm honest, and it was, you know, quite disturbing. I've always viewed myself as being quite laid back, and so I guess I've just recently been trying to grapple with that and really get to the root of that. And there's a lot of medication and there's a lot of self-help, but I've been trying to turn to scripture to try and get to the bottom of that. And one word that's really struck me is peace. And the Bible talks a lot about peace and how important that is for us. And that peace doesn't mean that everything's going well, but what it does mean is that when things aren't going well, you've still got a firm foundation and you've got a trust, and it enables you to get through. And so that's been really challenging for me. The way it's affected me is that I've not been sleeping, so that changes your whole perspective for the rest of the day. So that's been challenging. And I've been reading a book, and in the book, one little aspect, because it's not always the case and people have different things, but one of the things that plagues us today, and we've kind of touched on it because we've talked about PBs, and we're always comparing, we're always looking at what other people do. And the Bible, I think, makes it quite clear that we shouldn't be judgmental. We shouldn't judge. Only God should judge. But I am a judging machine. I'm always assessing and judging and looking what other people are doing and what they've got. But that is very corrosive to us. And the verse was actually quite fascinating. I'd never really thought about it. And it's the verse that we've got a very little bit of on our shirts, where Jesus said, "Follow me." But I'll just read you some of those verses. So, need my glasses on.
Yeah, I've got some here, Paul, if you need them.
You're all right, we'll find it. So Peter turned and saw that the disciple whom Jesus loved was following them. So that's John. This was the one who had leaned back against Jesus at supper and had said, Lord, who is going to betray you? When Peter saw him, he asked, Lord, what about him? And so Peter was immediately looking at John, making a comparison and saying, well, what's going to happen to him?
Mm.
And that's what we do. We look around, we observe things, and we see, and we can't help ourselves. We compare, and then we either end up feeling a bit of a loser or inadequate or whatever else. And it's very destabilizing. And it's wonderful that what Jesus says back to him, this is what he said. Jesus answered, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me. And I think one of the things that I've been really struggling with and trying to pray through and get to grips with is, what does that mean for me to follow Jesus today? I'm 55 and I'm still trying to work that out. So, I say to the lads, it's really important. Stick at your Bible reading, stick at your prayer time. Even when, and if we're honest, there's been some discussions recently where I'm not sure that God exists, and, real challenging conversations around the dinner table, which is a good place to have those conversations. And my plea to them and to Christians is, stick to the basics. Just spend some time with your Bible, in prayer, in quiet, and allow that peace that can only come from God to be the foundation, because we end up striving after things, overreaching, destabilizing ourselves. And I'm sure that is a major source, even today with social media and everything else. How easy is it to compare? I'm sure we've all seen, is it Khloe Kardashian? Her photographs come out and she's upset because it's been, it's not been a doctored photograph and it shows of her real, and it's, crikey, she's not perfect. But that's what's thrust upon us all the time. And so we've got it on our shirts. Jesus says, follow me. And it's really, the key is, what does it mean for you, for me today, to follow the Lord Jesus? It's an interesting question.
And it's not, like you said, it's not easy. We're all human, aren't we? We're all born as sinners, and we have them doubts that go in our head. You know what I mean? Even myself, especially through lockdown, because obviously, like you said, we're not at church, even though we've got church online. It's just not the same. So it's hard. You know what I mean? We've got to admit it's hard to stay positive. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this and Christian Runners, trying to just to put that positivity into people, to say, look, you're not on your own. We're here. We're up and down the country. There's Christians that are runners. We're here to talk. If you want to talk to anyone, get advice, and we're here. And I love what that message about follow me, you know what I mean, and follow Jesus. You know what I mean? He's our number one. Or as Pam said, Pam's story, Jesus is my superhero. And I don't know if you saw that one. She had the she's done the London Marathon, and she's got Jesus is my superhero, like superwoman, super lady. So, no, thank you for that, Paul. That's encouraging and uplifting. So, anything else before we wrap it up, as we say?
It always makes me smile when I see that follow me on the back of our shirts, because I think it does inspire people to overtake us.
I know. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm usually a little bit further up the front, and it pushes me on, because I know people can see that on the back, and I'm sure people think I'm going to get in front of you. And you know what I mean? When they're huffing and puffing past me, it always brings a little smile to my face, thinking, I bet you just read that and now you're trying to get in front of me.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you, Frankish family. Family of 6, obviously 2 of them out there, wherever they are in the world. So thank you so much. And I just pray that God will bless you, whatever you do, you guys in your A-levels and then university. And don't forget, I'll be watching that you're still running and doing park runs. And hopefully, maybe one day, Paul, you might plod around doing a marathon, maybe. And Ange, you might do another one. You never know.
I'd love to do another one.
Yeah. You mentioned, Paul, about I can't remember what you said now. or what is that? Go on your bike, and you usually stop at cafes and stuff like that.
Well, we don't. It's pretty hardcore. We do 3 hours, and there's no coffee and cake. I'm trying to work it that way, but
because I've spoke to lots of ultra runners lately, and I was training last night, and 2 of the ladies that came with me, they're both ultra runners, and I'm getting them to run fast up the hill, and they both said to me, "We don't run fast up hills. Most of the time we walk, and as we walk, we have our sandwiches." There's no sandwiches tonight. Get going faster.
brilliant.
Well, it's been lovely to talk to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason, for your hard work in all of this, and your organisation of this and inspiring people. Thank you.
No, thank you, and send my love obviously to Indy and Ben, and hopefully we'll see you all very soon in the flesh. You know what I mean?
And Jason, happy 32nd anniversary. Now get yourself off and
yeah, oh dear me, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm doing an interview on my anniversary day, so. But she's let me. She's such a loving, forgiving, caring wife. She's lucky. All I can say is she's lucky to have me. Well, guys, it's great to talk to you, and God bless you. Whatever you do, keep running, keep sharing the faith, and God be with you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.